Hello, welcome to the session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Erika Angell, and today I am delighted to be representing Deutsche Bank, and I am excited to be having a discussion about tech and tech careers with Anusha Dandapani, the Chief Data and Analytics Officer for UNICC, the United Nations International Computing Center. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2021. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. The objective of Girls in ICT Day are to help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in the growing field of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, UNICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, and is in support of Equals, the global partnership for gender equality in the digital age. Deutsche Bank is pleased to be a partner on this session today, and the goals of these series the goal of these series include to interest and inspire girls and younger women with information about a range of ICT careers that can be had, bring before a broader audience some of the role model women in tech, and share information about their career journeys and work. Offer diverse examples of how ICT is being used to support achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and other UN goals. Showcase initiatives that are working with girls to support them in ICT studies or future ICT careers. Provide girls and young women in tech with a leadership opportunity to represent and promote a girls in tech organization with which they are involved and promote it with a broader international audience. As a young woman starting my career in technology, a more gender balanced tech sector is something that I'm passionate about and working towards. So I am delighted to now shift to a conversation with Anusha, the Chief Data and Analytics Services Officer for UNICC. So, Anusha, when and how did you get started in technology?
Thank you, Erika. I'm from a city called Chennai. I grew up all my life in India. I'm very passionate about science, math, and technology. So I pursued my engineering in information technology. Applying science and math in building technology based solutions always excited me much. So slowly I realized that I had become a statistical data point by holding specific technical roles, such as data science lead and such, at an investment bank, to now at UNICC. Slowly, I realized that data is and which is the crux of technology, where my passion is, and that's how I got here.
Wow, that's an interesting path. Data science is something also I am interested in as well. And speaking about your path, so what's your technology path been since your initial interest?
Um, Initial years were about exploring what I'm actually good at and what I enjoy doing professionally, etc. But after a couple of years of working in India, I got an opportunity to work for Credit Suisse in the Bahamas, which I'd say was my first breakthrough. I had a great job in India, yeah, and I was living with my family and my friends, but I was just curious about the world out there, and so I bet on myself, and I took a plunge. And even though I didn't know anyone in the Bahamas or was not sure how it was going to work, eventually, looking back, it is a consistent pattern in my life that whenever the opportunity comes to take a bet on myself, and I just go on a new adventure, I'm usually all in. And that's how I am. Fast forward, like now, about like 13 years from now, I've done tours of duty at several global investment bank. One of the investment bank happens to be the one that you're working, Erica. So it worked out for many major financial centers. I worked in the Bahamas, I worked in Luxembourg, Singapore, London, and New York. So these,
Wow.
all through all these experiences, I think I built my expertise in data analytics and especially in technology, and I think that understanding of how to take an idea from inception to delivery, and specifically focusing on driving outcomes for business and on also for our customers, has always been my path. And I think I focused a lot on building my career based on this T-shaped path. I would like to put it that way. Like, what I mean by T-shaped path is um, focusing on the domain expertise, having the data skill, and then also a purpose driven, high impact work as your central sort of theme in your career. I do firmly believe in the Ikigai principle, and I think having those three components in your career um, focus kind of helped me come to a path like this.
Wow, it seems like technology has taken you all over the world. So tell us more about what you do right now in your role.
In the fall of 2020, I got the opportunity to join UNICC, which is United Nations International Computing Center, to head their data and analytics services um, unit. I serve as the Chief Data and Analytics Officer at UNICC, and in this role, I'm responsible for creating and also overseeing the growth of data and the analytics services that we offer at UNICC. I also advise our member partners and our partner agencies within the UN system. And I also work with academia on solving data driven business problems by leveraging um, advanced analytic methods like artificial intelligence, machine learning. And also, my focus is to get the fundamental aspects of data science, such as data engineering and data what do you call modeling. So my focus is to uh, increase the awareness around the various offerings and the capabilities that we offer uh, at UNICC.
That's so interesting. And I was just wondering, most of your experience seems to be in the banking industry. And I'm wondering what made you change industry?
Uh, Well, you're right, Erika. Previously, I was a data science lead at Barclays. I led several strategic initiatives which were very much related to electronic surveillance, financial crime compliance. I was also responsible for end-to-end management from the phase of requirement gathering to working with the program management, and on also making sure you're collaborating with the data scientists, the machine learning teams, and then also the compliance officers. So that kind of experience did give me a sort of a clear path where I decided to choose to join UNICC, because with so many talented people on our data team right now across various job functions that I usually work with at the moment, and also they are all from different geographical locations. These has been a sort of a very important highlight, and for me to learn one, how different people are and how their approaches to solving a problem is like. And then I think diversity in problem solving is the key ingredient in data science, and I think that is very, very, really important also to focus on resolving bias. And I feel where is it that I can take all the learnings that I've gotten so far and focus on an industry or a sector, especially this public sector, where I could apply my strength and the skill set to solving problems for a greater good. So I decided to choose UNICC.
That seems like a really great purpose that you have, like helping people with technology. It's really interesting. And that kind of leads me to the question, what do you like best about your job?
The best part of my current role is always been like, my focus is to help my team, my data team, and also my stakeholders in identifying ways how we can apply data in problem solving. And I also help my stakeholders to, number one, understand the problem. Yeah. So what I mean by that is, what exactly is the issue? What is the end goal that we are seeking to achieve? And why is this problem sort of important to solve for? That sort of a view is what I bring forth to the table. And I also, number two, focus on defining the scope of the problem and also help them put together any assumptions that might have come about, like they might have undertaken in order to address it. Because, for example, is something like, is the solution that you're thinking of, is it generalizable, or would it work in the specific instance or in the context? Why? Those sort of the things that I help our stakeholders achieve. And number three, my real sort of strength in helping them discuss the trade-offs, to kind of think it through, whether the pros and cons of different possible solution. Because see, there is no right answers in data science, right? And there is likely to be no best answer either. There are multiple ways to solve a problem, and I really care about is like, how do we actually approach these problems is a very important part of my job. Yeah. And I also believe by simplifying this data intelligence, we can actually not just engage with our stakeholders, we can also educate and empower individuals in the institution that we are working with. So being a change agent by focusing on applying data science is very important in my role, and that is what I bring to the table. And being part of an organization like UNICC and driving change like in a data analytics team, and focusing really on how to drive sustainable change in the world, and how can we sort of engage and bring about this data driven mindset, is part of my job.
And can you share an example or two of things you've done in or with tech that you're particularly proud of?
Sure. So my mission is to figure out ways to apply machine learning and artificial intelligence, specifically on data for good initiatives. And I believe there are so many ways that we can bring together many experts, not just from public sector, but also from academia, from the research, and also from various social media channels to share their expertise. So I do believe in crowdsourcing mindsets and crowdsourcing the sort of the strength that we can bring about from diverse thinking. See, earlier this year, one of the event I led and data driven initiative that I focused on was wherein to drive key insights to help people with hearing loss, and how can we figure out a way to channel the resources. And this particular initiative was focused in UK, where there were multiple non-for-profit agencies who had their resources, but they had to identify the right path to channel those resources. That was one of the projects that I work on. But however, since May 2020, this is one of the initiative that I have been leading, and it's just very close to my heart, is that it's a Thinkathon initiative, wherein we are trying to help with a team of data women or data experts to create a virtual space to generate proposals of social innovation, especially with the focus on to creating um, safe and empowering public spaces for women and girls post COVID-19. Because this Thinkathon was envisioned, or as an idea, how we wanted to structure this initiative was this Thinkathon aims to provide solutions to 5 key challenges that we do feel and we face as women and girls. One is, how can we figure out a way to prevent sexual harassment and other forms of violence that are against women and girls in the public spaces, especially during COVID and post COVID? And how can we make the public space accessible and safe for mobility for women and children? And how can we figure out a way to distribute the care work that women tend to take into? And also, how can we make sure that by focusing on these four principles, how can we figure out we can capture experiential data? See, the point here is the gender in data is always missed out. How can we capture the voice of women and especially the gender component in data by capturing experiential data? We women think for ourselves how we want the women centric problems to be solved for. That is the mindset that I was coming about. And I do think by capturing experiential data and crowdsourcing women's experiential data to think through and to encourage them to think out of the box and focus on ideas and solutions that they think that we can sort of tune into, is the idea of this thinkathon. And this initiative got picked actually by the UN Innovative Ideas as the best of 2020 ideas. And I think this is something that I'm hoping to also take it forward, where we are hoping to build a prototype for a specific region. And in this moment, we are trying to work in conjunction with the government of Mexico and also the city of Guadalajara in Mexico at the moment to build a prototype, how we can think through these sort of challenges for women.
Those sound like some powerful projects. And your career has obviously been so successful, and it still is successful. And there's so many things you have to be proud of and your accomplishments. And I'm just wondering, throughout your journey, have you encountered any challenges along your way? And what did you learn from them?
Um, See, over the past years, I've been a data science practitioner, and I have realized uh, abundance of data is a good thing, but also that it can be mined, it can be understood, and it can be harnessed to gain new insights. However, I think the same algorithms or these techniques that we use, the companies use to boost their profits, can be leveraged for mission driven organizations like the UN, yeah, and to improve the challenges that we face in this world, like reducing poverty or advocating for child well-being and more. But I do see the challenge will be having more sort of individuals to take this sort of path where we can use the same fundamentals of data science to solve for different non-for-profit problems as well.
Mhm. And with those challenges in mind, how much do you think the industry has changed since you've joined, considering women in technology?
Yeah, there are different paths of advancement in technology and data science that have come about. But however, I do think with the adventure of artificial intelligence, there are many things that we need to sort of think through for ourselves, not only for the industry or the sector that we focus on, also for the greater good. One of the topics that I do care about is AI ethics, and it is my passion. And there is a lot of work that this tool needs to be done in this space. And I feel that, such as improving the capability of machine learning algorithms to be pretty much unbiased.
Mhm.
And we have seen a lot of examples of the outcomes of these artificial intelligence algorithms, that they tend to be focused on pretty much being a sexist algorithm or being a racist algorithm and other forms of biases that also comes about from these algorithms, right? Like, but the good news is we are the individuals who are creating this artificial intelligence algorithm, and we pretty much within our control have the ability to teach the right values and
Mhm.
right ethics. So I do believe that these challenges that I have in mind is that we need to act sooner rather than later.
Mhm.
And other focus that I do see that will change, and what women in tech need to keep in mind or consider would be like how to interpret insights from these algorithms. Yeah, that is going to be a very important component as a skill set that we women in tech we need to start learning, because a system might pump out results, but it is up to us as humans to figure out how to use this information, right? Like it is not just about building an algorithm, it is also about how to use these insights and how we use advanced technologies like AI as to understanding as to who creates it and what we do with it is going to be the most important thing we as women in tech should sort of get ourselves familiarized with.
And do you think there is enough being done to encourage women to get involved with the tech industry? And if not, what do you recommend?
See, the skills of data scientists and engineers are going to be in high demand, and they are not just a necessity. They enable organizations like yours and like mine to extract valuable insights from their data, right? And they also use that for their societal benefit. And as we see, there is more volume of data being collected across the board. The variety of roles in data science is going to become very, very significant, and it is the growing field. And I do feel that data and statistics are no longer the purview of just the researchers and the academics alike. It's more about even during, and at the moment it has become more evident with COVID-19 pandemic, that people worldwide have started to understand the value of data. And I also see that people talk about the what do you call, the flattening the curve, and everybody puts the data in front of you to say that, okay, we see the curve going up here. So these are all data driven insights. Yeah, so I do see that the people around the world have realized that data is not only helping them make better decisions of what kind of TV show you're watching on Netflix or what you want to see, but it's also kind of gotten to an important point that what kind of world do we want to live in? So data is going to play a big role in that, and I do recommend women in tech and also the younger generation of women who are upcoming um, to focus on data-driven skill set. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, do you have any career or tech advice for girls and younger women in tech? What skills can they hone to set themselves up for success?
Um, I don't want to be the sort of individual who's sharing a lot of advice, but I can sort of share what worked well with me. And maybe this is my way of learning what worked well, and I'm happy to share what worked well. So, one thing that I do recommend to keep in mind is that going into a tech career, focus on exploration and focus on learning.
Mm-hmm.
And we women tend to sort of be very choosy. We kind of draw a limit for our own self. I don't be choosy. And I also recommend that be like a sponge, right? Like what I mean by being like a sponge is in terms of like, enhancing your hard skills. And data is not going anywhere, like it's good, it's here to stay. So learn how to understand or how to analyze data, and even learn to use tools like Excel, basic tools like Excel and Python to the extent that's possible, because focusing on fundamentals of these things, how to use these tools to answer interesting question, and these things will is here to stay. And if we as women sort of start learning to how to crunch data, how to drive insights from data, your sort of opportunities is endless.
That's inspiring. I do believe that the opportunities are endless, and learning and technology in general is just always learning. It's always changing, and being a sponge, you got to be one.
Yes, that is the best advice I can share, Erika. Now, I think it's time for you to share with us. So, How about you? So, what inspired you to get into technology?
So, when I was in high school, I was inspired by my computer science teacher. She was a woman, and I was amazed by all of her knowledge and all of the things she could do just by typing on a keyboard. And that inspired me to learn about technology in as many avenues as I could. So I really just tried to expand as much as possible after I saw a woman in technology that I really, really looked up to.
And what do you like most about it?
I it's the ever-changing environment. It keeps me so interested. There's always something new coming out that you have to learn about. You're infinitely learning. And that's something that I love to do. I love to get excited about something and then just learn as much about it as I can. And I think that technology is the perfect field for that.
What's something that you have done in or with tech that you are particularly excited about or proud of?
So I am a young woman in tech, and unfortunately, I'm not in UNICC where you guys make such a purposeful difference. But I do have projects that I have been proud of, and they have to do with a lot of my interests, which it was mathematics. I created a low density Perry check code, which is basically
Mhm,
just an error correcting code, and I did that using a Sudoku. So it kind of involved a lot of technology, but also a lot of mathematical theories behind it, which is similar to data science,
mhm.
and which is why I was so proud and so interested by the topic.
What are your next step in tech?
So I've just started my career at Deutsche Bank, and I guess I'm planning on growing there. They really prioritize our learning, and they set aside time for women in tech specifically as well, our representation there, and also just encouraging the learning by, for an example, we have engineering days in my sector, and that just means one day out of the month, every month, we set aside time to learn about something in technology that we're interested in, and it doesn't necessarily have to be connected to what we're doing and the work that we're doing. And I really love that. And I think my next steps in tech is just like you said, be a sponge, to grow, to learn as many things as I can. And like you said, figure out what I'm good at and
Mhm.
go with it.
Do you have any messages or for the other young women in tech, or maybe uh, women in technology in companies or academic organization that you'd like to share?
So I've just started out myself, but I do have a piece of advice that I guess I told myself when I was first starting, and it's just to believe in yourself. I think a lot of the time, as women and as young people, we doubt ourselves. And like you said, we put limitations on what we can do and we box ourselves in. And we should never do that. We should always think that that we are remarkable and that we can do what we want to do. All we have to do is apply ourselves. And that's the advice I would give is believe in yourself. You're meant to be there, you deserve to be there, and learn as much as possible. Take advantage of it.
I think the future is really bright to see young women like you, Erica, being a source of inspiration. I do find your story very inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm inspired by your story, your success, all of the places that technology has taken you, and all of the big impacts you've made just on making this place a better world with technology. It's so inspiring.
Thank you. You're very kind, and I think it is all about the inclusivity of we women holding our hands together and
Mm.
also watching out for each other. The
Yeah,
inclusive sort of leadership and inclusive growth, I think that will help we women in technology to come forward.
I agree. Power in numbers. We got to
You
stand together.
did a great job, Erika. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Anusha. So
Thank you.
that wraps up our session today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. Thank you so much again. Your answers were so inspiring and insightful. I'm sure people will see that as well. I enjoyed so much chatting with you today. So thank you everyone as well who's watching. Thank you so much to our viewers that are watching.